Welcome back to the LCS and our final game of the day. It's the day of upset. Bernie's back, where 3 of 4 games have gone the way of the lower-ranked teams. EG, the only team able to hold fast in this day of upsets. And right now we have 2 teams sitting in the middle of the standings with only a few weeks of games left before playoffs. We're talking Team Liquid, we're talking Dignitas. How much can we expect these teams to move, if at all?
At least for Dignitas, I feel like that they have stabilized a little bit after being in free fall post Dardoch, where, you know, Kassadin was moved in. They had like no scrims together. Obviously, they look like a bit of a dumpster fire, but then they recovered largely, I would say. I expect them to hold on to their playoff spot and, you know, hang around this area. There might be some movement between them and Immortals, but I think EG has cemented themselves as above them right now.
6-9 though. I mean, like you look at the team just below them in Immortals, 8-8, right?
Close.
So it definitely speaks to some competition within those, you know, bottom spots in the playoff picture.
Right, I don't think there's gonna be much movement unless it's like between those guys. Like Dignitas might change with Immortals, but I don't expect anything but that for those guys.
What about on the side of Team Liquid? This is a team that obviously, having been a finals contender from Spring High, we had high expectations coming into summer. There's been a lot of drama and chaos in that camp, but it looks like maybe we're finally working our way back to some stability.
They're making me happy with bringing Alfari back because without Alfari, there is, in my opinion, a 0% chance they'd be a #1 team. They're still a good team, don't get me wrong, but there's no way they're not #1 team. So even with Alfari coming back, I still feel like they need Santorin as well. It's not like they didn't make this decision to bench him or anything like that, right? He's having health issues, so hopefully that's something that's resolved. If he comes back, I think they can be a title contender. Without him, I think they're just a top 4 team, which isn't bad by any means, right? It's just not #1.
I mean, they were struggling. I think they had only beaten 1 team in the top 5. I think they had 1 win over EG with the sub-squad, if you want to call it that, in. And so while I think Jenkins looked decent individually, like, to your point, flat out, they weren't a top team. They weren't really contending for first place without Alfari, and that's why I'm excited to see him back, and hopefully that they can pick up a little bit where they left off from Spring.
Yeah, and I think the story is told in basically the early game, right? Like, if we look at this team in Spring Split, they were smashing early game consistently because, in large part, Alfari was top-gapping every single game. Right?
That was a big piece of it.
That was a big piece of it, and now that piece is back, right? And it's not that the team has been bad, but when you think about the TL that is at first place
What was that,
contender,
Mark?
Getting high,
All right.
because as I go down stat by stat, I'm like, woo!
Hi, would you like to woo as well? Anyway,
Close enough.
So yeah, when we talk about TL, what defined them was their early game, right? Even last split, when they were having, you know, issues closing out game, their early game was never a question. And now I think the question is, will they be able to rebuild the synergy between jungle and top that will allow them to re-unlock Alfari in short order? And then from there, will they have time before playoffs to sort of get their ducks in order, right? And look at a first place contender again? I don't know.
Well, if this game goes anything like the rest of the day, I have a feeling that he's not. Team Liquid might get bopped here, but you know, I think Alfari's here. He's gonna make a statement. He's gonna be like, all right, I haven't been here for a while. I'm here to kick ass, and I think he probably will.
It's a very different meta from when we last saw Alfari as well.
Does it serve him?
I would think so. It feels like there's a lot of carry
He has
potential.
to have the fingers, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of carry potential.
I'm sure he's still got fingers, but like, he was.
Have you seen his
Does he
fingers
have
recently? Are you
Straight
sure?
to the point.
There's a photo of him right there.
Yeah,
He has
wait, where
fingers.
was the last time we saw his fingers? No, he had him in the Jersey Mike's video. No, I guess like the point is that he was able to build 15 CS leads on average in the previous split. Are the champion matchups that we see in the top lane still indicative of that being able to happen?
I think so. It's a lot of fighters. It's a lot of scrappy matchups. You're talking about Nocturne tops, Viego tops, Gwen tops. I feel like melee fighters are something that he's going to be very competent on, and you know it's a little less priority based maybe than some of like when he's really good on Gnar or some range matchups to just slam a CS lead. But he's one of the best laners for a reason.
Yeah, and I think the difference between this split and last split, there are straight hard carries who could just 1v9 the game. Like we just saw Fudge have an insane Akali performance. Didn't end up being enough.
The game.
Right? But
Could have used some help.
Not the best supporting argument you've ever made on the
But
bench.
he almost won a game.
He almost
and if
won.
you think Alfari is maybe better than Fudge, then maybe, right? In a similar scenario,
Hey, let's
Alfari gets
do
the
our
dub.
top lane tier list then. That was something.
Oh,
I'm
no,
just kidding.
no. Yeah.
I mean, let's outside of that though. I know that he has had some experience playing with Armeo, but as you mentioned, Santorin is not in. And so when we kind of talk about ramping up to maybe that finals, oriented team, how much closer does Alphari get them? How much are they missing when they don't have Santorin?
I feel like the problem is, like, at this point with Team Liquid, we kind of just have to assume that Amayo is going to be in until something's proven otherwise, right?
Exactly.
So with this roster, I'm just going to assume that this is the roster for the rest of the split. If that's the case, I don't foresee them jumping any positions. I think they're going to stay fourth, and I think they'll just stay there.
Yeah, as you can see, we do have a small delay on stage with some audio issues, so we're going to keep waxing and waning on this matchup in particular. We already talked about meta, but champion select and drafting in general has been a point of contention for this Team Liquid squad with the turnover that they've had. Again, I'll recall to spring where it seemed like in a lot of cases they were either prioritizing a heavy power pick for Alphari and or waiting for a counter pick to secure him a super good matchup. Do you think that given the way that TL has been drafting up to this point, given the meta, that that's still a possibility in a way they might want to go?
It's interesting because so much was about Alphari and also in-game getting him ahead. With Jenkins, it was like, we're going to give up Gwens to take GPs into it. And other than the Akali, they really didn't prioritize too many of the power picks in top lane. You know, like, he would play Lulu into things. He had his own little champion pool that Team Liquid did a decent job setting up. But I hope with Alphari that they can go into the really early pick, Lee Sins, the Viegos, the Gwens, all these other things, and just give them to Alphari. Or give him counterpick later to support that.
Yeah.
Final point?
Yeah, I want to note, so at the top of the day, when we saw TSM draft, we saw that they favored picking their solos in the first rotation because there's a lot more emphasis on flex picks that can go into either solo lane, which is sort of different than how TL played before, which was almost exclusively, hey, we want to just counter pick, right, in the last pick phase. So I think it's a little bit of a different meta where you're not going to see as hard counters, and instead you're going to see more of these emphasis around the more flexible top laners.
First time we've seen Alphari since game 1 of the split. Let's hand it over to Demacia Vice to get us into game 5.
Woo!
Thank you, Dash, and welcome back, everybody. It's the last game of the day. Alphari's back, and it's Team Liquid versus Dignitas. How are we feeling about this one, buddy?
Feeling damn good. This is what we were waiting for. This is what the people have been waiting for all split long. Alphari's out. When is he coming back? This was the moment.
And that's, so for those of y'all who missed it, yesterday on Twitter, Team Liquid released this seemingly like ominous post of Steve sitting down with Alphari and looking at the camera like, hey, yeah, we really need to talk about this. There's some things in the air that kind of need to be cleared. And it ended up just being a meme post about how they like Jersey Mike's more because it's their sponsor.
Yep.
As soon as I saw that, I was hungry for a sub. So we'll see if they can manage to get them wins and get some discounts on subs for people, but they got to go through Dignitas to do it.
Hey, Steve loves his sponsors. Let me tell you, I remember that cell phone meme that he had way back.
On his, I'm not going to say it because that would be free. Hey, phone companies, if you want us to actually say your name, you can always hit up the LCS for sponsor deals and stuff, but I'm not saying your name unless you pay me for it. Okay, let's get into the game and see who's going to be paying who on the Rift. We got Renekton and Kalista banned away by TL, with Xin Zhao banned out by Dignitas.
Yeah, Kalista Thresh has just been the bread and butter for Dignitas' bot lane. They didn't perform all too well in the last one, but that's just an anomaly. So it's just a great idea in general. Even if you're blue side, you just take it away from Afromu and Neo, who have been the most, I would say, consistent members on Dignitas.
Okay, Viego banned out now by Dig, and Akali banned away by Team Liquid. So let's see what the last ban's going to be here from Dignitas. I'm so interested to see what Team Liquid is going to do with Alphari, whether or not they're going to play around him specifically. Like, just Team Liquid's side of the draft in particular, because of Alphari being back, super interesting this game.
And it seems like it's going to start with a battle of jungles in the picks, because now not only did they take Viego and the Xin Zhao, so it seems like Diana's going to raise in priority like all hell.
Right, so okay. Not a Diana first pick, going for the Volley Bear instead, expecting this to be in the jungle, of course, but could potentially go top lane.
Yeah, it's just a really scrappy pick. It's really good in the early game, and it seems like Armeo wants to be able to have control early, get stronger 2v2s with both his mid lane and top lane, great gank potential. All of these things are a positive, especially if you look back earlier today. Golden Guardians got their win based off of that great Volibear play from Iconic, so it's a nice callback, and it's been Armeo's pick. Armeo's been a great Volibear in his career.
And the response from Dignitas here for their first 2 picks. Picking up Aphelios there for that hyper carry, AD carry potential, and Thresh right next to him. You pick Aphelios, you need somebody like the old Tom Kench that is now eternally on the bench.
Yep.
Or Thresh, something that can protect him well because he is so vulnerable if not.
Yeah, and now you can actually go for, an immobile mid lane as well, maybe later on in the draft in the 4 or 5. Like, you can expand your horizons there because you have that lantern ready. So Volibear is not going to be that large of a threat. I want to see if there's another point of lockdown from Team Liquid to make it a little harder for Thresh. But so far, liking the draft here from Dignitas.
Okay, so Liquid is going to go ahead, grab themselves their own AD carry here before Dignitas has the chance to pinch the pool, and Nautilus locked in next to him.
You know what I want to see banned by Team Liquid?
What's that?
Get the Ziggs out of here.
Okay.
I think right now, they're pretty much, they do not do well versus Poke. And Ziggs has seen that resurgence. So in this case, I mean, it's not going to be too overwhelmingly like, you're not going to be too concerned about it because there already is an AD carry picked out. Aphelios is already there, so it's not going to be a flex. But in general, just not being able to deal with that range, and they've added the Trundle as well, so range is going to be the game plan from Dignitas. They might not go in the way of the Ziggs, maybe an Azir, something like that as a more practical ban.
And remember, Trundle can make life very scary for these Volibears, these Nautiluses, as they jump into a fight where they normally consider themselves tanky, especially for a champion like Nautilus that loves Aftershock. If Trundle ults you while your Aftershock is up, remember that he steals a percentage of your total resistances when Aftershock is there. So then after Aftershock fades, you're left wondering, why do I have less defensive stats in the AD carry? Well, Subjugate's just really good for that.
He's juiced up. He's hulked out for those fights. So
hell yeah.
Definitely going to love both Volibear and the Nautilus in these fights. So I think it's a great pick, mostly for the Pillar. Pillar actually, people don't know this or don't really call out for it, but like Pillar and Thresh Hook is a combination that people do look for.
Yeah.
So it just makes it a guaranteed pick for the Thresh if you have Pillar on a target. And so you need to, it forces Flash. So that's why it feels like so far, just in the 3 picks, Nautilus is going to have a hard time this game. If he gets pillared, he's going to have to use his flash from Thresh, so I think the setup is there in the bot lane.
Okay, it's Gnar and Gwen banned out by Dignitas. So really looking at that top lane, saying, all right, we know he's back. We don't want him carrying games. Take away 2 of the champs that are really good at being able to do that. Sylas banned out by TL.
GP's pretty good here. And I know that Alphari is a great GP player. And it just comes down to taking away champions that are really volatile on the top side of the match, up in the top side. So there we go. Mundo's going to be taken out. And I wonder now, Dignitas might end up giving Fake God last pick here. Because if I'm looking at this matchup, even if I'm thinking Alphari may be a little bit rusty, I would say that this is a mismatch here with Alphari being so strong throughout at least his time in the LCS so far, and Fake God having at least a rough split him for himself.
Set locked in for the side of Dignitas. So expecting that one to be the top laner here into Alphari. You're making a face right now, Raz.
Could go mid. I know that Yasui has played the pick and has been somewhat successful on it. So Ligo earlier on in the split has also done that. So at least that's just been a consistent strategy from Dignitas. I think you would much rather have a mid lane consistent point of DPS like an Azir or something like that. So now they get to see what the mid lane option is here, and it's up to the set if he wants to go into the LeBlanc matchup.
Right, we got the LeBlanc here for Jensen. Final pick of the draft for Team Liquid will be up there for Alphari in that top lane. What will it be? They know that it could be up against this set. You already pointed out the Gangplank is definitely an option here for the side of TL. Alphari experienced on that champion and locks it in.
There it is. GP is just so good for their comp too. I mean, it gives a lot of space for, Varus to put out DPS. Same goes for Volibear. And it makes it hard for Trundle, I would say, to actually, and generally most melees, to operate in fights. So it's a good pickup here and also creates more space, not just off the ultimate, but also his barrel placements. He's a great GP player. It's nice to see him back on it.
Okay, final pick here.
Whoa!
Oh, okay. Yep, set's going into top lane. Raz, Kassadin mid.
Oh my god! This has been like the matchup. Whenever Kassadin is an idea for a pick versus LeBlanc, because he can out-sustain the matchup, but it's just, a lot of people view it as just a hole in the mid lane. That if you have a Kassadin, you lose perma-prio, that it's going to be the opposite team that's going to be trying to just basically pile in pressure on the opposite side of the maps because Kassadin can't do anything unless if he just TPs to the fight, and even then he's not really that powerful for it. So it's a waiting game, and now Yusui, he's the type of player who's super creative.
Yeah.
Ezreal mid lane, we saw that, wasn't super successful, but he's the type of person where you just don't know what he's going to go towards. Now picks up that Kassadin.
Kassadin, being one of the older champions in League of Legends, has such a very stark power difference at his different breakpoints. Level 1 to 5, he is a minion.
Yep.
Then level 6 to 10, he's a champion, but he's not a good one. Level 11 to 15, he's a real champion now. And level 16, ha 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 ha. You
Left
just
to the
get to
bank.
do whatever you want.
Yep.
So I'm really curious, will Dignitas have a properly crafted strategy to get him at least, I look to them to get at least to level 11 to the
Yeah.
point where he feels like a competent champion.
I'm going to be honest here. I'm an honest man.
All
so
right,
I shouldn't
be
even
honest
say
with us.
that.
It's the last game of the day, Raz. Be honest with all the lovely
Apparently
people.
I've exposed myself as being a liar generally, so.
Oh, no.
No, but I'm going to continue to be honest. I should say that.
Okay.
There's going to be a rough laning phase with the Kassadin. Not only
Okay.
just from the LeBlanc. I know the LeBlanc, it's a counter matchup, but like Kassadin in an isolated matchup is going to be pretty happy about this. But this is consistent gank setup for a Volibear with PTA.
Yeah.
He is going for you. So if Yusui's lane is ever in a bad position, he's looking towards the Trundle. And Trundle is also very susceptible to the LeBlanc Volibear combination. I know that he could deal with the Volibear specifically, but like that's a strong 2v2 that I don't think Kassadin and Trundle can ever fight. So early on, if LeBlanc's able to ever get a freeze, that's just going to be a really bad situation for Kassadin. But to your point, like if he gets out of that, great. It's game time.
Yep. And one thing, of course, we do have another pause here on stage. Hopefully, we'll be out of that here very soon. But it is PTA junglers here on both sides. We do have both of our supports also running Ignite this game. Oftentimes, you will see some exhausts here these days against specific champions, but both are deciding to go for that additional kill pressure here instead this time. So
Peeking in
hopefully
the
that means
screens.
we're going to get some jungle attention down in the bottom lane and get things spicy.
This is our kind of pro view right there.
Yeah. We got the real pro view, the over-the-shoulder pro view.
We should have that as an official pro view. Over the shoulder, you're just peering over a professional player's like...
Over-the-shoulder pro view.
Yeah.
Only $500 per month. Subscribe now.
You know, it reminds me of an old LPL. It was like a third-party tournament where things were going wrong, network issues out of nowhere, but the game was still happening. So guess what they did?
They just put a camera behind the
They sent the
players.
cameraman behind the players. Watch from their point of view. I enjoyed that one.
Hey, sometimes you just gotta solve it however you can solve it, man. But here in this game, it looks like we're not gonna get any action early on either, Mr. Raz. This time around, it's just everybody going towards their lanes, setting up some basic defensive posturing, but nothing crazy.
Yeah, and so now I'm looking at this. I mean, you look at Dignitas and naturally say that they have a scaling element with Aphelios and Kassadin.
Yeah.
Their team fight should be there. I think Aphelios will definitely, and Thresh, will love and value the Trundle Pillars when it's Team Liquid walking into them, and it's going to be a pretty hard time for Armeo. See, they don't have, like, side lane threat. Whenever you think of a Kassadin, you're like, oh, 1-3-1. The GPs should be really happy here versus Set as the game goes on. So it's going to be a little bit tumultuous when it comes to mid-game, but overall, let's see if Yusui gets to that part of the game and he is in an even state versus LeBlanc and Volibear.
Exactly. You know, people always throw out the phrase, it's not about the destination, man, it's about the journey. Well, it's the same thing here for Kassadin. People think about the destination. They think about the level 16. They think about the unlimited rift walk that just one-shots people.
Yeah.
But that journey is so important. They've got to be able to get him there. They've got to properly protect him. Yusui also, with that fleet footwork, making sure he'll be able to sustain just as much as humanly possible. You don't need extra damage in the runes because you're going to have that damage later on.
Absolutely.
Just got to get there.
100%. And so, like, Dignitas's perfect game state is a slow game. They don't want these lanes to be impacted by a jungler, by a dive from a bad trade. You can already look at how difficult it can be for a lane for Fake God. And you look for mid lane, of course, like, naturally, you're going fleet footwork from the Kassadin. You're going to be sustaining underneath turret. And then the same goes for bot lane, where they're going to be chipping at you, sure, but the range advantage is there from Team Liquid. So, outside looking in, you can just say from the early game perspective, Team Liquid have a winning winning matchup in all three lanes. Lanes, I'm just looking at the 2v2 from both LeBlanc and Volibear as a perspective. So it's going to be difficult for them in the early game. let's see what ends up happening. Armeo's just going straight for the enemy Raptors.
Yeah, and this is one of the things, right? If you're the jungler on the team with 3 losing lanes, all of a sudden, all of your camps are compromised.
Yeah.
You must always be careful and always be mindful, even when you're just on a PvE, just get the camp cycling farm path, somebody could be waiting. Now, Kassadin will go ahead and just walk back up through here. He'll go to his wolves, not really a whole lot else going on here. His opponent already going over to that Scuttle Crab, picking it up for himself. Kassadin did go down and guarantee that he picked up the one in that bottom side river. And I like that. I like him going to the crab before his opponent did, knowing that his lanes don't have prio, so trying to get it as quickly as possible.
It definitely doesn't want to get double scuttled. And in this position, Armeo does have full control topside. Just left a small Raptor in that camp too. So when Kassadin does go over there eventually, it's going to be rough for him because now he's dealing with, you know, a camp that was never fully reset. So going to be at a pretty low experience level, but let's take a look at this. This is what we've been waiting for here.
Okay, it's happening bottom instead. Tactical's going to be the target with Neo and Aframu going in after him, and Kassadin's down here making some trouble as well. And the Troll King gets paid. Dignitas first blood.
There he goes, Aframu with a flash flay.
Oh, but back in the mid lane, Yusui gets away with a flash of his own. He was the target, but TL couldn't take him down.
Very close. I mean, that E from the Volibear was going to be dealing a tons of damage, and they actually could have dove off that if that did hit. But that's still nice, getting a flash from Yusui, and the wave's going to be bouncing back. So that's another repeat gank. Let's see how that goes. But we'll look at the replay. I mean, this one, Kassadin was going to be coming in with a Trundle Pillar. Also just a great flash flay there from Aframu. It seemed like it was just going to be a guaranteed pick here. Didn't even have to use the hook on this one.
Yep, and right there, I mean, the placement of the pillar made it so even if Tactical tried to flash, you're still right on top of pillared ground. There's no way out of that one. So they make the choice, don't spin the flash, survive anyway. Or not survive anyway, live to hopefully survive another day.
Yes.
And be ready to go on that one. And hey, you see it on your screen right about now. If you find yourself squeezing in a late night workout and you don't want to miss any of the action, check out the audio-only cast of the League games today through League Day. That way you can know the moment-to-moment action while getting your lift on, getting your pump on, doing some homework, whatever the hell you want to do, you can do it with League of Legends in your life. Check them out, leagueday.live. Now, back here in the mid lane, Yusui is almost at the point where he is a real champion, Raz. He needs just a couple more minions to hit that level 6.
I mean, he's definitely happy at this stage of the game. I mean, bot lane got a kill. Of course, it was given over towards Kassadin. He's still even in CS, and now he's able to hit that level 6 mark. So he's in a really comfortable state within his own matchup, and it's nice to see. This is what we've been seeing from Dignitas pretty recently, I would say. When they got the win over TSM, it wasn't just like, oh, TSM made multiple errors in a row. There were some errors, sure. But Dignitas, when they had the lead, they kept it. They played towards their vision. All these good things happened. So, hey, if Dignitas is able to get a lead here, you expect the same things.
Oh, there's your pillar. And there's, and he pulls them right back. But they just don't want to go in any further. They're very close to the enemy turret. But I like the accuracy there. And that's exactly what you were talking about, right? Pillar, setting up for hook, turning it into almost not a skill shot anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it was just good judgment there to not take it. I wasn't looking at the minimap there where Volibear was definitely on the way and LeBlanc was in Fog of War, would have been there too. So recognize that, but now you have in the back of your head, you went bot lane already 2 times, why not a 3rd time? Tactical and Core JJ have to be recognizing that they're going to be the targets here.
Alphari doing a good job building up this lead for himself in the top lane. You can see not only does he have priority the entire time, but he's also building himself up a lead of about the tune of 2 minion waves here.
Yeah.
So very nice stuff. This is the biggest advantage that we see in any of the lanes so far. And for Team Liquid fans, this is exactly what you wanted with Alphari back on the Rift.
Yeah, it was an 11 CS advantage. And Set has to go back to base without TP, so he misses this full wave too. So Alphari's coming in. There ain't no rust there. I ain't seeing that rust.
Nope. He is shiny, sparkly, full of chrome, my friends, and he is running things up there in top lane. Now, Team Liquid, they have the chance now to go for this Drake. This is what we were talking about, having lane priority all over the Rift. It opens up so many opportunities for your jungler, and Armeo is happy to pick that one up.
It just looks like Dignitas is kind of gearing up for just that one big fight. If it's going to be a 7-minute Drake, and it seems like Team Liquid is going to be in a great position to go for a 2nd one, perhaps, you know, want to fight for a 3rd one. It's going to be on Dignitas that fights for 3rd Dragon in a pretty comfortable position for Yusui and Neo. Neo is already in a pretty good state. I mean, he's down CS so far this lane. But in terms of just like constant jungle pressure, you'd expect the Kassadin to go back down there.
So I guess what I'm looking for is what marks are you specifically wanting to see? If we're expecting Dignitas to not really opt into any big fights until third Drake, give second one, fight for the third one. Is it a 2-item Aphelios power spike? Is it a certain level on Kassadin? What do you want to see from Dignitas by the time we get there in 9 minutes for them to have a shot at being able to really take that fight?
Definitely the Aphelios point.
Okay.
You know, if he is able to get towards the second item, then I think they're in a really good spot. Let's see what ends up happening here. Seems like they want to contest for Rift Herald.
Yeah, they're walking up for this one. Alfari's coming down. Team Liquid has 4 men nearby. Core JJ's already here.
That's a 5v5
hey,
coming
everybody's coming up to party now. Okay. 5-man squad from Dig. 5-man squad from Team Liquid. Pillar's already placed down. Rift Herald at about 3K, but now Core JJ's jumping in the middle of everybody. He's going to be targeted, going to be focused, going to be killed. He is gone. Armeo wants to jump over the wall, but the bear don't care. Dignitas keeps on going in. Armeo gets out. 100 HP is all that's left. Rift Herald is reset. No patience remaining. Dignitas have the man advantage, but some injured health bars across the board could be trouble. Yasui wants to jump in and get the kill on Armeo, but he won't be able to find it, but Jensen's going to be pulled back in by Afromu. Jensen only having his clone in danger, still staying all right here, as Dignitas have now decidedly won the fight, and they will be the ones taking the Herald.
Great timing from Afromu, be able to get the hook on towards Jensen as he was dashing forward. But overall, these are just great guns, white and green gun from Neo. So he was able to place the turret down, so when Volibear walks into him, doesn't matter that GP ultimate's raining down on top of him. You cannot fight into them. Core JJ got blown up simply because of that fact. So also Fake God on the set, incredibly good at managing dives. So if there's any piece of damage coming in, he's going to be able to just whop them. So that was a pretty rough run from Team Liquid that started that Rift Herald to begin with.
Yep, and one thing I will be watching a lot here, we'll talk about it after the replay, because we do want to see how Dig made this happen one more time.
Yeah, just taking a look at this. I mean, it was hard for Core JJ and for the Varus to enter this fight. They were kind of pushed out here toward the bot side. Tunnel Pillar nice to kind of zero in on Armeo, but the moment he goes in, even with Aftershock, gets just obliterated.
Yep.
So Ultimate came in from Akkadian probably just to take down his resistances as that was playing out, and then Fake God just completely pushes Armeo out. So there was no way for Team Liquid as a whole to kind of fight into them.
And then up top, Alfari's the one being chased after now. Tries to throw down a barrel, looks to get away. Uses the orange to cleanse the death sentence, and that means Neo and Afromu will not grab the kill. Now they got to be concerned. Team Liquid coming up here for a potential counterattack, but wards spot him out, so they won't get in time.
There we go. Alfari was able to still hold on to Flash, was confident that he would be able to get out of there. So even with the red-white gun, I mean, only had 3 chakram, so still wasn't enough damage. But this is just Dignitas now starting to check Team Liquid as a whole. They saw them just out of place in the top side and went for it. These are 3 members here, though.
Yeah, they got to be careful about that one, especially with Armeo on the Volibear. Doesn't quite have the ulti cooldown ready yet, but remember how easy dives are with Volibear there with that turret disabled ready to go. Dignitas still enjoying a small gold lead, not quite 1,000. Team Liquid have that Drake still in their pocket. Second one spawning here in a little bit over a minute, and Dig still have about half the timer left on that Rift Herald eye to drop that too. Great way to use that is as a distraction with that Drake spawning, especially with plates still up and available.
Yeah.
You can get value all over the place.
Definitely expect that to be the case here. I think this is going to be a Drake win con for both teams with how early it's been started, at least the first one. And now Team Liquid are in a position that even if the fights aren't going well, according to plan, getting second Dragon gives you a lot of power. We saw that in the previous game. So it's going to be a good idea for Team Liquid once. I think if they clear out this wave, move bot, I think it's pretty rough for them to even try and pressure for this top lane turret. That'd be a good call.
Okay. One thing that I'll also be looking at here, because you talked earlier about how Fake God very tanky on the set, can repel a lot of damage there with the shield and everything.
Yep.
Even though the item does reduced effect on ranged champions, Lethality Varus is a champion that loves to be able to build Serpent's Fang.
True.
So we'll see how well that influences this, whether or not Fake God's able to survive. He tanks up underneath the tower right now, goes in for the big haymaker. It's a 1-for-1 so far, but Yasui teleports in looking to make something else happen. Won't quite get it there. Does level up to 10. Dignitas taking the opportunity to make a play on the other side of the map. Akkadian wants to move forward, but Tactical's able to get away in time. The pillar will not be enough with the minion wave arriving, so there's no way to hit the death sentence. Dignitas trying to answer here in the top lane, but Team Liquid putting in a lot of work there in the bottom lane. Yasui trying to stay alive here in the 1v2. He's going to be chased, going to be taken down, and it's Alfari in the bottom lane making it happen.
That was very close at the very beginning. I mean, the fact that they tried to dive Fake God with TP coming down, that's a lot of confidence from Team Liquid side that they're able to get the job done, so it turns into a 1-for-1. But then they know that they got Yusui. There's not going to be much for him to really... I mean, his only axis in the fight was going to be the LeBlanc.
Holy core JJ, man, he's about to die. Neo barely getting away. Afromu barely getting away. Alfari coming in and he's looking for blood. One barrel's already down. Hits that second one there, trying to chase after Kassadin now. They won't get him. Holy cow, so many people barely getting away from that one. Core JJ just nearly dying in that engage there.
Yeah, the fact that they were hunting for it. Core JJ nearly died, but same goes for Neo and Afromu. TP coming in from Alfari almost got the job done there, but that's just going to be now 3 turret plates going to Alfari. I got the word, though, from the people in the back. Gotta love them. Saying the last time we got to see Kassadin here in the LCS was 2 days shy of a year ago. July 11th.
I'm actually surprised it's that recent.
Yeah, same, actually.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember that game. I don't. So we will, I will take their word for it. Stats team is full of many, many people who are very, very, very much smarter than I am. So I will trust their word on that one. Kassadin, of course, level 10 right now. Scaling up towards that level 11. That's when things are going to start to get a little bit scarier, but still waiting for level 16. Drake has been started up by Dignitas, but now they will walk away, recognizing the TL is close.
Yeah, Team Liquid should not try for this. Even with the GP ultimate coming up soon, they do not have TP on him, and he's going straight forward the top lane wave. So it's just a straight TP advantage for Fake God. It would be a bit tough for them to even try and find something without going for a pick first.
Okay, Yusui continues to farm up here in the bottom lane, getting as much EXP as he can. Kassadin shadowing him, recognizing that TL already made the play down here around this tier 1 turret once, getting the dives. They don't want to allow them the same thing here again. Kassadin also wanting to protect this control ward Dignitas has placed down in the pit, and they will start up the Drake.
Yeah, they lost their timer there. They were so close to being able to get the control ward, but the fear was that Trundle Pillar would come down, and the Afromu and Neo had already had this push. This should just be Dignitas' Dragon. Team Liquid will lose this fight.
Armeo's here trying to contest. The root comes out from the Aphelios. Dragon secured by the side of Dignitas, but Core JJ's going in. Look at all the damage coming down on Afromu. He's about to die here at the very start. A nice snipe from Tactical. But now where's the rest of the fight gonna go? Core JJ's running away into the enemy jungle, so he'll fall now too. 1-for-1, support for support, but Dig take the Drake.
Hey, very surprising that it didn't get worse for Team Liquid. Set ultimate on top of Jensen, but of course he was able to just dash away from the entirely. So still, it's nice Team Liquid is still trading. But that's just a great pickup for Dignitas, and that's going to be an Infernal Soul. So Dignitas is going to love this. The fact that this game is kind of trending towards them, and now they have a soul to play for.
Yusui jumping in there, just daring Jensen to stick around and try to fight him. Level 11 on Kassadin, level 11 on LeBlanc. 2-1-1 for Yusui's Kassadin with 10 CS down compared to his opponent. Pretty good for the first 11 levels.
Yeah, and we kind of talked about the item builds that would really work for the Silas types and Kassadin. It's nice seeing Kassadin now. Everfrost is fantastic for him. Like, not only the added, little bit of HP that he gets on top of it, but also just...
The active, man!
Active is fantastic.
Lock him down!
It's so good. And you already had an insufferable E that you just slow enemies down with, and now you can combine that with the snare as well.
Super effective stuff. Rift Herald number 2 up on the table. Remember, it was Dignitas who were able to counter Team Liquid here last time, steal that objective away from them. Team Liquid again, first to the scene of the crime. Fake God is hanging around, just maintaining vision over it in case Dig want to move in, but honestly, they will not this time, so they can easily secure that on the side of Team Liquid. Armeo will pick up the eye, pick up the Scuttle Crab. TL's feeling good about it.
Good call. I mean, Team Liquid, they knew that they had Jensen in their back pocket. He was in Fog of War. He may not have been close, but, I mean, Dignitas didn't know that. So they were just aware that it was just going to be an issue dealing with LeBlanc. So great Rift Herald being taken overall. And on top of that, Jensen just doesn't lose much from the bottom lane wave. So he's able to still hover for the play and then come back for the wave. Only question for me is how they're going to use Rift Herald at this stage with no turret plates up and available. I would say the best thing to do is to try and use it with your dual lane. If you can get an opportunity through mid lane, that's nice. It's also just really damn low. So yeah, you for sure throw it down mid lane.
And there is your Everfrost completed on the Kassadin. So having that one done, as well as stacking up that tier just about halfway there on that one right about now. Item completed with the Sunderer. They're over for the Volley Bear too. Remember, both Trundle and Volley Bear are those champions that can go either for tankier builds or for more of the bruiser state of things.
Yeah.
They're both starting out with that heavy bruiser mythic in the Divine Sunderer, and then I expect to see more tankiness afterwards.
Of course, and speaking of tankiness, survivability, Neo went towards Shield Bow instead of, the Gale Force, something that adds some level of protection, but in this case, there's just so much burst on the side of Team Liquid. If Jensen's able to pop you in the start of a team fight, there's not much you can do about the rest of that.
Don't do damage when you're dead.
Exactly. Team relies on you. You need to survive. Shield Bow is a great option.
Okay, Alfari once again up here in the top lane. Look at that CS lead. 40 over his opponent. Alfari just feeling great about the current state of the game. That Divine Sunderer done there is going to give him a lot more damage against both his lane opponent and the enemy jungler too. Feels good, man.
And that goes back to what Team Liquid's been really comfortable with. For all of spring, they play towards side lanes, wait for Alfari to get his wave in, know that he has an advantage. If he has a pretty hard matchup, they can play towards him. And then they play around his timers. So that's always been the key to Team Liquid's success in spring, and now it's back. So I wonder what Dignitas is going to do as response for it. If Team Liquid kind of just goes straight back on that horse and are playing that style really well, or are there problems along the way?
Team Liquid does have a good gold lead for themselves right now. It is 75 seconds until we see that third Drake of the game. With the count currently tied at 1-1, this Drake is not imperative for either team.
Yeah.
It's not like anybody's just going to be completely breaking their back for the rest of the game if they ignore this Drake. So I will be curious to see if we see a fight for it.
Yeah, I very much doubt it. I think just trading sides for both teams really work well. I think one thing to take note of is this guy right here.
Okay.
Kassadin. On side lane, he should always go for solo experience. I think the less he joins the team, the better. He has teleport, so that should just help him just in case anything happens on the map. And a lot of the times, if he's able to, let's say a dragon fight, if that were to happen, take a flank. Good scenario for them.
Okay, a teleport's coming in from Dignitas. They're looking to fight Alfari. Nice flash over the wall there. That was something that could have very easily been fail flashed if you weren't precise with what you were doing because of the nature of the pillar placement from Akkadian. But well done from Alfari getting away.
And a damn good pillar placement, right? He needed to flash because of it, so.
Yeah.
Great job over there. No flash on Alfari. And if the fight's going to be starting, let's see. TP is not available for Fake God, but it will be in about 10 seconds. So they're going to try and just concede at least pressure here and wait until he's able to join. He's actually just walking to the play. So Team Liquid should get control here first, but Dignitas for sure will contest.
Team Liquid with control and having this Rift Herald in the mid lane, there's no way to stop it from taking the turret. You can't kill it before it charges. Charge is guaranteed to kill. And now TL, knowing their opponents have to stick around for an extra 2 seconds to kill that Herald, they have this priority over the river. They're here.
Yeah, it's going to be tough here. Remember, Kassadin wants to be in a flank. There's just too much lockdown.
Ooh, a nice hook coming out there from Afromu. Jensen's able to get himself away before any follow-up really finds the mark there. Fate got it about 2/3 HP. A little bit of poke being traded back and forth. Nice shots from both AD carries.
But Alfari's doing a great job marking Yasui. Oh, no.
Oh, we're already going in. Alfari taking some damage, but willing to turn it right back around. Dignitas is eating an incredible amount of damage right now. Akkadian is already gone. Afromu and Neo have to head for the hills, both flashing out. Armeo continues charging forward. Fake God is stunned up. He tries to go for the haymaker, but he just gets punched in the mouth. Team Liquid, 2 for nothing.
That's a TL team fight, and it's nice to see it again. All of that was made possible because they had great control of the objective, and Alfari's eyes were on towards Kassadin. Kassadin had no way to surprise his team, and so the moment the fight starts, great lockdown from Core JJ, easy pickings.
Okay, Team Liquid will earn themselves the Drake after that one. Armeo can solo it down. Everything is cool here. And now, Raz, we are 22 minutes into the game. Team Liquid lead by 1 Drake and about 3,000 gold. Is this an acceptable game state for Dignitas with this scaling composition of Kassadin and Aphelios to still be able to win? We'll look at the replay, and then I want to hear your thoughts on that.
So my eyes here are on Alfari because all of this is happening. This is Dignitas trying to get foothold. Yasui can't join his team. Even when he ults in towards the bush, he's a control ward he has to deal with. Alfari does lean towards that side, so there's no way. If a fight is going to happen, it's going to be 5v5 front to back. Here it is. And then this great engage from Armeo. Also a lockdown on towards Akkadian. And at this point, it's already a lost fight. They just chase him down. Armeo using QR, so he's still actually charging up his, his Q lockdown when he's closed the distance. So great job overall from the team. And back to your question. Acceptable game state here for Dignitas. It's tough. I don't think it's out. They're not out of the game. Absolutely not, right?
Okay.
All it takes is just that one proper fight that takes LeBlanc out, a good flank. And that's, I think, game state, less about gold and more about just the map state as a whole.
The setup. Okay.
Exactly. I'm loving Team Liquid's play because they're playing through mid first, then they're clearing out vision. There's no way in which Kassadin starts to fight. They're going to try, though.
Okay, Kassadin leading the charge, throws out a pillar. Finds the enemy jungler and support. Tactical takes a little bit of damage from Neo. Yasui wants to go all the way in. Tactical's at 200 HP, but critically he is not dead. Afro move, very close to death's door himself. Neo's pulled the safety with a lantern, but Jensen's able to take him out. Afro will be the next one to die with a double kill for the Team Liquid mid laner, and Core JJ is going to be taken low with a haymaker taking him out, but now Fake God's here in the middle of 3, and they're still looking to fight. Kassadin and Yasui still alive, trying to get away, trying to counterattack. Armeo will fall. Team Liquid lose 2 and kill 3.
That's a triple for Jensen, though, and control on the map. That's just such a good job from Team Liquid to just respond to the Trundle charging at them. That was a call that Dignitas wanted, thinking that, hey, this is we have full vision here. Even if they know that we're here, we can still take the fight and be confident around it and try for a pick on our Tactical. Tactical was so close to dying there, but just wasn't close enough.
Sometimes it's just those littlest margins that make the biggest differences. Here's another look.
There we go. So they had full control mid lane. They were aware of something happening. Look at how low Aframu does get here when he's clearing out this ward. Gets blown up on top of that, so he's not going to really be an issue in the fight. Look at this.
Oh, Alfari trying to stand and fight 1v2, but Yasui's got the Rift Walk stacked up, and it is a Rift stomp at that point.
A little bit greedy, we didn't see the setup, but like that's just all of Team Liquid coming back into the map, so there's no reason for Alfari to be out there. Just didn't have tempo.
4, 1, and 2 on the Kassadin. Zhonya's Hourglass, second item completed. Makes it much easier for him to jump into the fight, not be zoned away like we saw in the previous Dragon fight where you just have no way in because you'll take so much initial burst. And then also note that tier, almost at 360 stacks. By the time he completes his Archangel Staff, it will be able to instantly evolve into a Seraph's Embrace.
That's why now Dignitas just take every fight you have as an option. And before Team Liquid can set up, if you're in position, great. Like, these are the type of things we need to see from Dignitas. They're getting scrappier and scrappier, playing around Yasui's waves.
Yes, Yasui halfway to level 15. So 1.5 more levels. He will be at the point where then Dignitas has that confidence. By the time he hits level 16, you'll also see the Seraph's Embrace completed. He will be incredibly powerful, and that's what I need to see Team Liquid be very, very aware of. Answer the Kassadin, focus the Kassadin, never lose track. Because all it takes is one Kassadin fight, and things turn very quickly.
Especially at this state of the game. I mean, I said that this was going to be a soul point game. I don't think that's going to be the case anymore. Baron is just going to be the most prevalent thing on the map. So one misplay around Dragon, wherever, it's going to be an instant Baron for the enemy team. So it's going to be important for them to always track him, like you said. And the most important member is going to be the Nautilus. If Nautilus can get a great ultimate, and like they did when they just stomped Kassadin in the fight around Dragon, if they can do that towards the Kassadin, then it's a one fight.
Okay, Yasui's hanging out here in the top lane as Jensen pushes out the wave. Uses normal distortion, still has the ulti, so not really under a huge threat. Jensen does hit level 15 before Yasui does, but now he will be left to answer the wave himself. All about that solo experience, just like what you were talking about earlier. Kassadin's hanging around nearby, not close enough to leech the EXP, but just close enough in case his mid laner gets dove. He's ready to be there, ready to protect. Drake here in 25, and again, Raz, it's Team Liquid with control over the river.
Yeah, even Trundle being all the way top here, I think they're just going to commit, but that just means that they lose soul point.
Right.
15 seconds here. This is just a bad positioning as a whole from the team. Teleport's there for Yasui, so he could have joined the fight. Maybe they just don't want to play for it. But yeah, tough decisions.
I'm guessing that's the call, right? You're saying Yasui is just now into level 15. Within the next 5 minutes, he should be able to hit 16, but he won't right now.
Yeah.
Give him the soul point and challenge them at that soul.
Ooh, so Team Liquid for sure know this is the case, but you have to walk into Dignitas' vision, and Dignitas want the fight.
Akkadian's losing a lot of health to the Baron, though. The Bruiser build Trundle, not particularly tanky it, getting hit by all those autos, so Dig have to back away.
Yeah, they couldn't get the fight that they wanted, and it's just going to be Alfari soloing the Drake. So this is oftentimes the worst of the decisions. We've seen this multiple times where it's like, okay, we have all the vision around Baron, so we can force the fight. But if you just delay the enemy team, A, to your point, your jungler just losing a lot of HP, unless if he's like a Giga tank.
Yeah.
And B, I mean, it's just so easy to take down the Dragon first, so you can always slow contest Baron. That's what happened, and now it's going to be a third Dragon at Team Liquid, and they're on soul point.
Team Liquid with that Infernal Soul threat now for the rest of the game. Alphari with some extra split pushing capabilities there in the side lanes as his Ravenous Hydra completes. You can see the Fiendish Codex in Armeo's inventory. Zhonya's Hourglass has become a very common item for Volibear to build after he gets that Mythic. Although it doesn't give him an incredible amount of tank stats, he still makes decent use of the AP ratios, and the active is so powerful on any diving champion. Across the table, looks like we're going to have our Sterix Gauge just now completed for Acadian, so another powerful form of survivability. Yusui has his own Seraphs completed now too, and everybody is kind of approaching this critical mass of power and item spikes. The next fight should be a bloodbath.
Yeah, and even going to the point you made earlier, like if you see a Volibear and Nautilus, you're like, man, that Trundle is going to take a lot of our resistance for free.
Yeah.
So he doesn't want to be that target, so going towards a more damage focus makes sense here.
Now, Dignitas with that 3,000 gold deficit still waiting on Yusui, waiting on this level 16 to get Kassadin where he needs to be. You can see they're giving him all the camps. Acadian's like, take him, take the wolf, take the
everything.
Grom, whatever, it doesn't matter. Get level 16. He is 75% of the way there. They need this level 16 before the next fight.
Push it to the limit. I'm not going to continue the rest of that song for Twitch reasons, but
I was about to start singing it with you, but actually that's a good point.
Yeah,
We might.
go.
And that would almost be a badge of honor if we got the LCS DMCA'd for a really crappy cover of Push It to the Limit.
Yeah, it would be. It would be awful, though.
I mean, I would apologize in the post-game meetings, but secretly I would be proud of the fact that we achieved that with our terrible cover song.
Hey, you know what they can't do? They can't ban us for the Twitch chat singing the song. So if you guys know the lyrics, please do so.
Dude, Twitch chat can't even count to 5 in the right order. There's no way they hit the whole song.
Yeah, they have no level of coordination. They can't do it.
Holy cow, look at the number on the left side of your screen, though. Jensen, 18-4 on LeBlanc career-wide. That's a pretty impressive win-loss ratio there, so we'll see if he can add another dub to the column. Team Liquid still feeling pretty confident in the current game state that they have here, but Yusui is level 16, and this is where we see if the Dignitas strategy pays off. If you can't win fights with this, you're not winning fights.
Yeah, I mean, it's the battle of the mid laners. Not only have we been focusing on Yusui, but, like, yeah, Jensen's pretty damn fed. 404, 10 stacks on his Dark Seal. He's going to go for a pick on it where, yeah, would have been a lot of damage.
Yeah, if that chain hit, oh, man. Okay, Dignitas, though, moving up towards Baron, clear out all the wards. Now, ooh, nice poke there. Coming out from Tactical.
Yeah, going to be quite a bit. And that's the thing. Whenever you're walking into Team Liquid's vision, like Jensen can always just search for WQ, Ulti R, E.
Okay, Team Liquid still just playing it nice and safe. Dig doing the same. This feels like a really intense game of chicken right now because neither team wants to be the one that takes the risky move that the other side punishes. So it's just this battle of inches as everybody takes one step forward, one step backward,
yeah,
seeing if the ground's solid to step on.
I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of it. Side lane waves just dying for no reason. I would much rather have seen Alphari just go straight bot lane, and if it is being taken, you always have ultimate NTP to join the fight. But you're right. They just don't want a mistake happening here. And you can just get popped by not knowing where Yusui is if you just walk in towards their Baron vision. So that's always going to be the case, as you know.
And, hey, Infinity Edge, now done for Neo as well.
There
so not
is.
only do we have Kassadin where Kassadin needs to be, we got a Felios on 3-item power spike. This is what Dig is looking at. On the other side, though, Jensen on this incredible win rate LeBlanc. 4-0-4, Void Staff, Cosmic Drive, Ludens. That Cosmic Drive is so much ability haste, making it easier for him to get these rotations and duck in and out of the fights properly. Oh, I can't wait for the next fight. It feels like it's been forever since we had one, but the next one ought to be spicy.
Oh.
Yusui's ready to go. He's after Jensen, lands the slow. Jensen with the double jump away, lands the chains. Yusui's here. Jensen's still trying to run and he gets deleted. Welcome to Kassadin!
Spotted him, deleted him. And remember, Baron is up, Dragon's going to be coming up. 40-second death timer on Jensen. That is huge.
That is such a long time here at this stage of the game. Yusui making the critical pick as the top laners are into a fight here in the top part of the river and everybody else now looking to fight back at mid. Armeo's nearly killed by Yusui. Yusui's nearly killed by Team Liquid. He goes into the stasis, he gets right back out. The Riftwalk's trying to keep him safe, but he's going to be killed by Core JJ. The Kassadin went in, and he should not have. Dignitas are now on the run, but Neo's damage is able to dissuade TL a little bit longer, but a shot through the heart, and Tactical's to blame. Team Liquid will run them down. Acadian tries to escape. Alfari eats an orange, and Afromu is not a fan of the fruit part of the food pyramid today. Alfari takes him down, and TL's going even further.
Just like that, they found themselves in the enemy base, and that could be game.
When you are the Kassadin, when you are the crux of this composition, you cannot jump into 4 to kill a volley bear. You can't do it. Team Liquid with the punish, with the counterattack, and with the win. 33 minutes in.
If you are a Dignitas, you just sink into your seat. You had it all. Yusui
Holy moly.
got that solo kill, shut down bot lane, TP'd mid to help his team, and yet jumped in, got killed by not only Alfari on his great ultimate, and then the finishing touch off of Core JJ.
Yeah, that was, Yusui had such a hero moment in the bottom lane, picking off Jensen, taking down the thus unkilled LeBlanc, right? And then they rotate into mid, he's feeling it too much, he jumps in on Armeo, and to his credit, he takes off about 70% of Armeo's health bar in one swift combo. You can't do that for a bleeping volley bear when you are the level 16 Kassadin.
He saw his moment, he wanted to go for it. Veteran players in that moment, take a step back. Baron's behind us, Dragon's behind us, let's go get a free Baron, guys, and the LeBlanc will never be able to touch me. This is what they built for. I mean, you were talking about that scaling element for so damn long this game. The Aphelios and the Kassadin were there. Obviously, the poke is going to be damn annoying to deal with from various perspectives, but Matt, it was still in the hands of Dignitas and they threw it.
Yeah, Dignitas had the ability to win that game. Also, in that final chase down, I want to applaud Tactical. Good aim there, being able to take down Neo with that piercing arrow. That was such a cool shot. Give me one of the camera angles swooping around that one as Tactical just does his best Legolas cosplay. Just what do your elf eyes see? About 300 gold. That was exactly what you want to see from your Varus play right there. Team Liquid coming back for the dub.
Hey, when your teammate plays well, that pumps you up too, man. Core JJ flash forward, get the tip of the hook. It was just so, the moment they saw that opening, that opportunity, they went for it.
Yeah, and Alfari's ulti being in the right place to just add a little bit of extra damage, enough to make sure they killed Yusui as he tried to run away. He was in there for just half a second. Half a second can be enough when the depth charge is locked on. Team Liquid did a great
That's all I need.
We have had a very spicy first day of games here for week number 6, guys. I know that a lot of people were looking at the schedule for this week, and they were like, oh, yeah, a lot of the teams, you've seen a lot of the stronger teams match up against the weaker teams. We started off today with 3 upsets, back to back to back. And then we go into the 4th game of the day, which is a comeback. And then we go into this one, which is a Kassadin scaling. He hits level 16, and then the other team turns it around. Give me 2 more days of this week.
It was insane this day. That's why you got to watch these games, man. For me, you can't take a day off. That's for damn sure. Speaking of taking days off, and then coming back with an elbow drop, Alfari is your player of the game. I'm just going to put that out there.
Absolutely. And
there we go.
We were talking about it from the very beginning of the game. Laning phase, he's dominating. Yes, it's a good matchup for Gangplank to begin with, but it's like Fake God never had the ability to walk outside of his own turret in that entire lane. Alfari was also maximizing his CS leads. Sometimes you'll see a player with permanent prio over the lane, keeping their opponent stuck, but they aren't getting the leads in CS you want them to. Massive leads, great play in the team fights, putting the ultis where they need to be. Dude deserves it. A big welcome back to Alfari. And now it is time for our Verizon post-game interview with Team Liquid's player of the game himself.
Thank you, Captain Flowers. After that Team Liquid victory, I am standing with top laner Alfari. Now tell me, why was this the week that you came back here to the LCS?
It was just like the week that happened. I don't know exactly why. The coaching staff, there were like some changes made, and Jonas decided now was the right time. Jonas being called the new interim head coach. It's been like 2 weeks, been back at the office, took some time off, somewhat reluctantly. In the end, I think it was good for me. And yeah, I mean, it was good overall. I had some time to reflect. Me and Jensen working on the mixtape, or J Money, as he insists on being called now. He's a little bit of a diva like that. I don't know why.
Any release date?
Sorry?
Any release date for this
I don't
mixtape?
know. It's very TBD. And then back at the office, working with Jenkins a lot now. And yeah, it just was the right week, I suppose. Playing for Dignitas as well, obviously, you know, want to win, get some confidence. It would be a bit of a disaster if I would just come and just lose the first game. So we figured Dignitas, you know, put me in, I guess I can do it. And it worked out, thanks.
And if you're looking for the W in this game for a moment on the Dignitas side, they're just waiting for that Kassadin to get online, right? But it felt like it switched there in a moment's time in the end. How was that from yours and the team's perspective?
I mean, whenever there's a Kassadin in the game, it is very much just about, well, this guy wants to reach level 16. And we were sweating a little bit about it, but we knew that we had Dragon win condition going for us. And it's also, our champions were not the easiest from to play against. But he still got level 16. I think we could have played better mid-game. But then, I mean, he just ran it mid lane and just jumped in like 1v4, and then they lost. So in the end, Dragon win condition didn't matter too much. And I guess neither did level 16 Kassadin.
And in the end, a W for Team Liquid to kick off this week, right? You mentioned the fact that you've taken some time apart, but we've already seen that you're in there in the content. You're spending a lot of time with the team, obviously speaking a lot with Jenkins during this whole process. How involved were you in these practice times with the squad to make it a bit more seamless when you did decide to come back to the stage?
Oh, only like the past like week or two. Before that, I was just unsure what was going on, just not interacting too much with the team. It was very peculiar for everyone involved, I would say. But yeah, it's been like 1 or 2 weeks now, just being around the office, playing with the team again.
Yeah, and now that you are back with this win on the stage, what is the plan for you from here on out? How are you feeling getting integrated back into the LCS? Feeling ready?
Yeah, I feel ready. I'm very confident. The plan is to win the split and do well at Worlds. And that's all there is to be said, I suppose. We have to get the playoffs. It's going to happen. And all the other good teams are, I mean, they're going to lose.
I love that the game plan is still the same for Team Liquid. Welcome back to the LCS stage, Alfari.
Thanks.
With that, we are going to kick it to a break. But on the other side, the State Farm Analyst Desk will continue breaking down this day in its entirety. We will see you there.
welcome back to the State Farm Analyst Desk. Alfari's back in. Team Liquid get the win. It looked scary for a moment when that Kassadin hit 16. But then, of course, the Kassadin's going to throw it away in the mid lane. I guess it's not so scary anymore. You heard, you heard it from Alfari himself. He's, I guess level 16 Kassadin doesn't matter if he's just going to dive in and hand over the kill.
Yeah. Also, TL early game, check. Alfari winning top lane by like 50 CS, check. Alfari dropping a mixtape, also check.
Yeah, hey, that's good news. Can't wait to get the official release date on that. You were talking about where Team Liquid falls ultimately in terms of being a top team. Alfari back in. Do you feel like he's missed a beat at all?
Right, so me and Mark were actually talking earlier. I'm wondering, the people in Twitch chat, do you guys happen to know, or do you all rather happen to know what a Flame Horizon is? Because that basically happened this game. He was 4 CS short, or 6, I believe, at the end of the game, but that's because they ended the game too early. That's not my fault. It's getting bigger and bigger over the course of the game. So if you know what Flame Horizon is, say yes in chat or something, or Flame, I don't know. But
I can't even see it.
You can't even see it. Twitch chat.
Saw.
Stop lying.
He has his phone out right
We
here.
have to interact with
Don't
them.
lie to the people like
They
that.
know what it is, right?
Also,
You're shouting into a void.
This is
right
how
now.
he won lane by lane.
exactly.
This is how he
You
won
have
lane
to
by lane.
enter
Yeah.
To the audience. I understand
Made by many.
everyone's
Made by many. Come on. Come on.
I feel like everyone's yelling so much that no one realized that it said CSD at 20 at
179.
Oh
right?
my
Yeah,
God.
that's what I was looking at. Mark and I over here
Wait
looking
a
at the graphic.
second.
and we're
Everyone's
like,
yelling,
wait,
no one notices.
That's an Alfari Horizon. It's a completely different thing entirely.
I feel like, to get back on track a little bit,
Please.
I still feel like there's like a bit of a, this isn't quite the dominant TL that we were used to seeing. This game easily could have gone the other way. Alfari individually looked pretty good, but
Okay.
they didn't have a stranglehold on the game, and
It wasn't start to finish dominant.
It wasn't start to finish dominant. I think you would argue that they should have got outscaled by Aphelios Kassadin, and they just didn't.
They should have
They
gotten up.
should have.
You saw that LeBlanc fight versus Kassadin.
Yeah, you saw what it should have looked like right before you saw it not look like that.
Right.
And this is kind of what happened at the early in the spring split last year. Like, they would produce these early game advantages and then they would kind of struggle to close. I think it's kind of what happened here. Like mid game, their fights around objectives weren't as clean as one would hope. But this is still a roster that's gone through so much change. I wouldn't be too worried about it. And I think the good news for Dignitas is they were in a winnable position for sure.
Absolutely.
That was a 5v4 that I think 9 out of 10 other times, it looks like much different.
In most multiverses, they would win this game.
In most bubble universes in the multiverse, it ends up much better for Dig.
I actually thought that, honestly, I think Jensen trolled there. I think he should have fought the Kassadin.
There it is.
So we know.
Or maybe it was
Record
like,
scratch. You might be wondering how I got here.
Yeah.
was it like a 5-head play? I'm gonna into Kassadin, give him false confidence so that he thinks he can 1v5 my team, and then boom, maybe Jensen's actually just a
Did you
genius.
vote Jensen for your player of the game?
Yes, I did actually.
Oh.
Yeah, no, he did.
I did vote for it because I said the play. He threw the 1v1 to let Isui get false confidence so that he'd go in for this play and then into away the game. It's actually like 5-head plays. You guys just don't understand. You're not challenging.
That's championship player.
You're
right
not
there.
challenging.
I try
perfect
and make
player in
good
your mind.
plays. High is like, I'm going to bait them into killing themselves by killing myself
Was
first.
he atop your mid list? Who was top of your mid list?
Abadaga.
It was Abadaga. Okay.
Of course, right? Of course.
Abadaga would have made the same play though.
Yeah.
You're saying.
Wait, no.
Okay.
Sometimes Jensen's smarter, I actually put him down there. I wanted to put him higher because I know he could be better. And this is like prime example of him being a good player for sure.
Yeah, so High is baiting Jensen and Jensen's baiting Dig.
There it is.
Perfect.
This game was so interesting because I think in a number of ways, like I wouldn't necessarily be unhappy on either team's side, right? Like, because as you mentioned, with Dignitas,
You're a glass half full guy. I'm negative on both sides.
Oh, no.
This is the
Like the whole thing's empty.
you got the half full glass. It's mine.
Yeah, it's the same glass.
I'm like, no, dude,
and
that's
we both
half
have
empty for
starkly,
sure.
starkly different opinions on it. No, because let's explore that then for just a brief moment, because I think it is, when we talk about Team Liquid and the fact that they have made all of these swaps, I would not expect after 6 weeks of not practicing with the team for them not to hit any road bumps with Alfari back in, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that this is like the level they're gonna stay at the whole time, but it wasn't like, nice, we're back. Like,
No, that's not what I'm saying.
I think I'm not saying that, but I'm saying
They have like 3 Fire Dragons. They're coming on Fire Soul. They have 100 CS gap top. The mid lane was 404. The only reason that looks somewhat close is because they had Cass and Aphelios on this side. And if the team drafts that way against Team Liquid, like, they'll probably get to the end game, but Team Liquid could still win, Like, they looked fine.
I don't know. I mean, the team took the scaling advantage and they fell behind early, but then they solo killed in the side lane.
But you're not indexing into the Jensen brain. Classic mistake from an analyst on my desk. All right, despite the upsets, the standings stay largely the same at the top. But it does make everything much more interesting as CLG Golden Guardians and FlyQuest gain a little bit of ground as they'll be battling for that 8th playoff spot.
And, you know, we talked about before the game whether we think TL's position is going to move. They're tied with C9 right now. They're in top 3. They're technically in our top 3 right now.
Yeah.
And I think if trajectory continues, I could see them displacing one of the top 3 teams by the end of the split.
Well, what's funny too is like the ground made up for the 8th place teams. All of them won. CLG, right? There's no ground together. They're all still one game apart.
That is pretty funny. Right now, on the spot, who is your pick of the bottom 3 teams to snag the 8th spot?
I said Golden Guardians last weekend, I think, and that was prior to the Licorice move. I now have one game of evidence of that, and I still feel pretty good. I feel like Blaze Olive has developed a ton. He's actually a pretty legit mid laner right now, and if Licorice is going to play better than he showed on FlyQuest, then I have some confidence.
I don't even have to ask you.
Look,
I don't even have to.
I want to address a very violent tweet that was sent out earlier today comparing CLG's humble, unassuming transportation vehicle and TSM's incredibly ostentatious party truck or whatever that was, right?
Yeah.
And that was sent out and then CLG won. So more violence towards CLG.
Because that is
Because that's karmic justice.
That is. It is the ultimate in karmic justice. Same question to you of those bottom 3 teams right now fighting it out. You've got the FlyQuest Academy squad that was promoted and picks up the win. You've got the Golden Guardians recently infused with Licorice, and then you got CLG who nobody knows.
All right,
what's going on over there.
Realistically, it should not be FlyQuest. They're bringing their academy team. Like, even if they're the top academy team, which is arguable if they aren't, they shouldn't be top 8 in LCS, you know, using logic, but you never know. So, moving forward, I don't think it's them. I don't think it's Golden Guardians either because they just did a recent roster change, and they're strong, but...
Say it. Say the words.
Just say the words!
It should be them! They don't make sense.
Doesn't it?
Exactly.
It should be them.
Do you want high on your side? Doesn't that make it feel less likely?
Wait a second,
When
is
people
this a
start
bait?
believing, when people start
right.
believing in CLG.
Are you baiting me?
I'm gonna let you stew in that. We heard Captain Flowers and we heard Raz say they want 2 more days just like today. We'll see if Saturday can deliver on just as many upsets as the day kicks off with the Golden Guardians looking to chain another win versus a TSM that just took a punch to the gut. We follow that up with Team Liquid versus Immortals. 100 Thieves versus EG is an interesting one there in the middle of the day. A lot of these matchups, while not as stark contrasts in overall standings comparisons, still make for what could be some really solid upsets.
Oh, absolutely. And 100 Thieves versus EG. I mean, EG's like low-key been on a huge win streak.
6.
Yeah. So, okay, 6. Oh,
ditto.
Jinx, perfect. Yeah. And I think, you know, EG's always been the team that it feels like they can beat anyone, and sometimes they do, but they don't do it consistently. They have been consistent, right? And there have been some very good teams that they've beaten on the way. If they beat 100 Thieves tomorrow, I think it's time to get really excited for EG.
I'm already excited, to be honest, about EG, especially with contracts being able to swap in 2 times now and pick up wins.
And he was on 100 Thieves Academy for a little bit, so I hope it's a bit of a grudge match being able to take him down.
Get him.
Right.
Get him.
And then for the bottom 3, it's likely Golden Guardian loses TSM, right? So they'll stay at 9 wins, probably. Don't quote me on this. And then at the end of the day, we have FlyQuest playing versus CLG. So one of those teams has to win, right? They can't not both.
You're right. So actually, we're guaranteed tomorrow that one of the
team.
teams will be in sole possession of 8th place.
Right, so we'll see who it is. It's going to be CLG. I'm cursing it for him right now.
Closing it out with a banger.
I just cursed it, so...
No, we're going to cut there.
Let's leave on a high note. Let's leave while Kaizen's in good spirits. That's going to do it from us here now. On behalf of myself, the casters, the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow for more LCS. Until then, stay healthy, stay safe, and be good to each other. Good night. That's gonna be